We're greeted with the sight of a crying woman surrounded by dark claws talking to her daughter. She gives her an orb with the number 10,000 on it, telling her to find the legendary ace. The woman with the number 0 on her hand soon gets dragged underground by all the dark claws, leaving her daughter, Hina, devastated. A few years later, Hina visits a peaceful town. She talks to some girls, saying she's from Fini, a faraway village. They wonder why Hina is traveling through Alsha as she reveals her search for the legendary ace, an urban legend. Suddenly, a teddy bear floats up from the water, and out comes a masked man, Licht. The girls get terrified and run away from him, leaving Hina alone. Licht pervertedly stares at Hina. He begs for some money and tries to grope the pretty girl before chasing after her. He finally gets stopped by a woman called Nana, who apologizes to Hina for Licht's behavior. Licht gets up and Nana asks him where he blew her shopping money. He begs her for food, but Nana refuses, knocking him down. Hina offers to buy the crying Licht some food, laughing at his comedic misery. Nana and Hina talk over lunch, with Hina explaining how her mother got dragged underground by strange hands one day. She explains that in this world, everyone has a number on their body that grows or recedes depending on if they perform a certain task. For example, the number of Nana's chest grows if her customers compliment her food and goes down if they find it disgusting. She then asks Hina's count, who reveals the number 441 on her inner thigh. Licht comes up under her table, trying to peek at her legs, and gets kicked away by Nana. Nana then explains that if a person's count goes down to 0, they get sent to the abyss, suffering either death or a fate even worse. The social standing in this world is determined by the count, as someone with a higher count has higher authority. Hina tells her that her count increases with every kilometer she walks, shocking Nana. She reveals her search for the legendary ace, a warrior with a silver star, but Nana is unconvinced that the myth is real. A disappointed Hina gets up to leave when a military major approaches her. Hina gets emotional seeing the silver star on his face, happy to have found her ace. She leaves with him as Nana seems skeptical. Licht says he's heard about someone who acts as an ace to deceive girls, and a worried Nana thinks that the rumor about the ace being in their town has spread too far. Somewhere in a castle, the man sits closely with an uncomfortable Hina. She reveals the orb, remembering what her mother said, and the shocked man asks if she's a ballot holder. She doesn't know anything, and the man draws his sword at her, demanding the ballot. Hina tries to get him to listen since his count is lower than hers, and the man challenges her to bet her count in a duel. Hina easily gets defeated and loses all her stars, now at his mercy. He orders her to submit to him, and Hina wonders why the ace from the Waste Wars is acting like this. He ridicules her, taking the silver star sticker off his face. Mocking Hina says that the ace from 300 years ago is dead now. He mocks Hina for believing her mom and walking 40,000 kilometers when suddenly another man's voice resounds. Licht appears and challenges the mayor. He laughs at his pitiful count of -999 and starts beating him up as his soldiers find it fishy. Licht gets up from the attacks unaffected, revealing an impressive count of 57-0 and a silver star on his other arm. He protects Hina, saying she does not deserve to get mocked for her efforts. She watches him with awe, as the handsome ace capable of supernatural feats holds her in his arms. The legendary aces are revealed to be a group of warriors that appeared during the Waste Wars. They carved the number of enemies they defeated onto their bodies and left after the war was over. Outside the castle, the mayor calls out Licht, claiming he couldn't be someone from 300 years ago, and attacks him. His soldiers join in but easily get crushed. Licht then vanishes, circling at insane speeds. The major is shocked when suddenly he sees Licht behind him. He is kicked by a blast of wind as Licht keeps walking in his direction, sending more and more blasts in his way, demanding that he return what he stole from Hina. Back at the town, Nana notices the explosions far away, smiling. She explains to an old customer that the ace of flashing strikes with a count of -999 is fighting nearby. The man thinks the ace must be weak, but Nana explains that it is simply the amount of times he has gotten rejected by girls. Back at the castle, Licht takes Hina and flies high. The girl is shocked at first but asks Licht to not hurt himself. He smiles and reassures her that he'll get her count back as Hina offers to treat him to a meal. Licht is surprised but agrees before swooping down and defeating the major. The black claws come out and take the major's count away, giving them to Hina. Hina is relieved and takes the ballot out for Licht. He notices a soldier shocked at the item and grows grim, snatching the ballot away. He leaves a shocked Hina, saying the ballot is worth good money and he's not the ace she was looking for. Hina returns to Nana with Licht's teddy bear, crying. She explains how Licht took her mother's memento away. Nana gives her the teddy bear to hold and suddenly it breaks, revealing her ballot inside. Nana tells him that holding a ballot is a criminal offense in Alsha and that Licht was just protecting her after the military saw her with it. She finally understands and runs to find Licht. She finds Licht on a horse carriage and chases after it. Crying out, she tells him how much happier he and Nana made her as a sad Licht simply puts on his mask and continues leaving. Hina falls and asks him to fulfill his promise of having dinner with her. She screams at Licht, calling him a liar, and says she hates him as his -999 goes up to -1000. A soldier approaches Hina, who tries to hide her ballot. He reveals that he is uninterested in that item. The man, an intelligence officer, sends information about the ace Lichtbach to his commanding officer in front of the horrified girl. The next day, Nana gets asked by some soldiers about Licht's whereabouts. She pretends to be ignorant and calls out Hina when they leave. Hina is relieved that her ballot wasn't reported, but worries for Licht. Somewhere else, a woman, Sergeant Lin, feels happy that her flyers are completed, handing them to her partner, Peel. They walk out and Peel asks her if she's doing volunteer work to build a kids' park right after completing a gathering place for the elderly. Lin sees some kids playing and climbs up a tree to take their ball out. She then finds some men trying to push a cart out of a ditch and begins helping them as well. Peel reminds her that they're slacking off on their official duties to catch criminals. Lin says the only thing to do in this peaceful town is to help people, and he remarks that he knows her count goes up by helping others. He knows that it only applies to people in serious trouble and that it has been stuck for quite a while. Peel then brings out a wanted poster of Licht, who takes it. Walking along the road, the two discuss him as suddenly Lin encounters a strange masked man dressed as a pudding. She immediately tries to arrest him, but the man says his mask is completely different from the wanted poster. She starts walking away but tries to get his mask off again. The man starts crying, showing her his -1000 count, and says that he has never dated a girl before. Peel tells Lin to help him out to raise her count, and the two go on some romantic activities. After a suspension bridge trip where Licht rescued Lin from falling, Peel gets tired and reveals that the masked man is probably a ballot holder given his -1000 count. Lin realizes it and takes off his mask, revealing him to be Licht, the criminal. Licht puts on his mask again and runs away with her sword, asking her not to be violent. Lin starts kicking at him, saying she's a trained martial artist, but gets flustered when Licht starts ogling her panties. She complains that it's her service uniform being revealing. Suddenly, Licht pins her against a tree, acting all romantic. Lin gets flushed and closes her eyes, falling in love with him. She starts making plans for their future when she realizes that Licht is already gone. Back in the town, Hina and Nana are working together when Nana is interrogated by a lieutenant. He asks her about Licht's location, and Nana claims that she doesn't know him. The man traps her in steel bars, and she is forced to reveal that he went east. He deduces that Licht must have gone west and left with his men. Hina is left shocked at the man's awesome power, and Nana reveals that those are a ballot holder's special abilities. In the mountain town of Homho, Lin hands out flyers, disappointed that Licht got away. Peel remarks that if she arrests them, she can get promoted, and Lin gets excited that she won't have to wear a miniskirt anymore. She spots Licht again and runs after him as the entire town joins in the chase. Thinking she's after her boyfriend, Licht jumps up to a higher area and avoids a confused Lin. Back in the town, Hina starts repairing Nana's mobile tavern to go looking for Licht. Shifting back to the mountain, Lin calls out for Licht, who remarks how stubborn she is. He wonders how the town is so peaceful with a felon running around and notices how helpful Lin is. She starts getting pushed around by some elders for a massage and accidentally steps on a little girl's doll. The girl starts crying and she tries to fix it. Peel reminds her that Licht might be away, but Lin is focused, saying the girl's item is more important. Licht smiles at this and swoops in, fixing the doll for her. Somewhere in a forest, Hina and Nana have set up camp with their mobile tavern. Hina feels happy that all the visitors are making it feel like home. Back at Homho, Licht is running away from Lin again when suddenly he gets pierced by metal spikes. Some soldiers march in, breaking the shocked little girl's doll once again. Their Lieutenant Jail appears, asking a concerned Lin to back off from Licht. Licht gets up and breaks free from the spikes, immediately attacked by Jail's men. Licht defeats them all and starts using his flashing strikes. Jail is allowed to use a ballot to combat other ballot holders as a military officer, but Licht is confident that his abilities at a 57-0 count are higher than Jail's abilities at 900. He uses his flashing strikes, thinking he'll defeat him, but Jail sees through the attack and traps him. Licht figures out he's hiding his true strength when Jail reveals he is forced to hide his count to prevent promotion to a useless behind-the-desk rank. Licht realizes he's in serious trouble when Jail reveals the number 12,500. The two begin fighting and Jail knocks Licht's greatsword up in the air. Licht assumes a fighting stance which surprises Jail, and the two engage in hand-to-hand combat. He returns Licht's sword after it drops down, and Licht jumps up high in the air to use his special attack. Jail's soldiers warn him to be careful, but he easily hits Licht in the air and traps him in iron bars. Jail questions Licht, deducing that he is a military member as well. He figured this out from his fighting stance, a technique used by the Royal Military. He wonders why the entire military was mobilized to find a so-called legendary ace, and how someone with a pitiful count of 57-0 became a ballot holder. In the face of all these questions, Licht pretends to be ignorant. Jael is about to torture him for information when Lin steps in, saying Licht isn't a bad guy. Jael asks Lin about what she is doing in this town, saying she wastes her time doing voluntary work. He tells her to stop the useless work and start focusing on apprehending criminals, and Lin gets disheartened. She begins apologizing when Licht calls out. He tells her not to apologize and easily breaks out of Jael's iron. Revealing his true power is hidden, Jael says that he, too, has been holding back, and the two begin clashing again. Licht pushes a shocked Jael back, telling him that the reason why the town is so peaceful is because of the helpful Lin. He demands he apologize and forces him back. Suddenly, the force of their impact ripped apart the edge of the land Lin was standing on, making her fall down the mountain. Jael rushes to catch her, but is instantly ousted by Licht, who saves Lin. Holding a flustered Lin, Licht talks gently to her, only to tell her she's very heavy. He tosses Lin to Jael and runs away. Jael brings her back to the town and throws her away, also saying she's heavy. He thinks about what Licht said about her efforts and reads a torn flyer, building a park out of metal. He tells Lin to fortify the park before 3 days, telling her she'll leave with him. She smiles and nods, beginning the work. Meanwhile, Jael sits down as his count. The number of criminals he has apprehended drops by 1. He thinks about how much faster Licht was while saving Lin. Suddenly, he gets approached by the little girl who demands he fix her doll. He summons a screwdriver and gets to work. Somewhere out in a field, Licht gets caught by Hina. He tries to get away but is stuck. Licht wonders how she found him, and Hina says she had a hunch, making him laugh. They hang out at Nana's mobile tavern. Nana tells Licht how she heard about his fight with Jael over a girl. Hina jealous stares at a nervous Licht as she discusses the roadblocks with him. Licht asks Nana for some food, but she tells him that he's no longer working for her and will have to earn it. Licht leaves to gather firewood with Hina, who reminds him of his promise to eat with her. She takes out some homemade lunch to eat with him when suddenly they see a plane fly over them. A girl is on the plane, paddling it to get it flying. Licht runs after her, knowing she's headed for a crevice. He saves the girl from the fall and returns her to the ground. Hina comes running after them, only to see the fascinated girl check Licht's body out to see how he flew. The girl introduces herself as Pelmo and takes them to her workshop. Licht notices her best prototype in the workshop and observes her blueprints. He reminds her that any research into flying is a criminal offense punishable by death in Alsha. Pelmo knows this but says her dream is worth risking her life over. Licht smiles and makes some adjustments to her blueprint. Pelmo kicks him and Hina out to make the adjustments to the plane. Outside, Licht wonders if he did the right thing by helping out Pelmo, and Hina thinks that he is right in helping her out. Licht thanks her for her help and Hina wonders about dreams. She tells him that her only dream was to find the ace and asks him about his. Licht says it's a secret and changes the topic by trying to peek at Hina's panties. Pelmo walks in, teasing the two, and tells them she's done. She takes out her prototype to test it when Licht notices some soldiers approaching them. Pelmo realizes that her research must have gotten noticed and Licht breaks her prototype apart. The soldiers ask Pelmo about her experiment, and who tells them that she was just fixing a windmill. Later, Pelmo says that even if the flight was successful, witnesses would have gotten her executed. Licht says that he couldn't risk her being caught as he would have had to silence everyone, and Pelmo nods, saying she doesn't want that anyway. Licht and Hina encourage her to make another prototype to try again, but Pelmo says this is the end of the line for her, revealing a count of 0. It turns out that her count started at 10 and would decrease each time she failed to achieve her dream. Black hands come out and grab Pelmo as a traumatized Hina tries to save her. She gets attacked by the hands, but Licht saves her and blocks the hands, getting shocked. He restrains Hina as Pelmo tells her not to cry, saying the abyss doesn't guarantee death. She says that they will meet again before getting dragged away. Hina starts crying but Licht falls onto his knees. She gets concerned for him, noticing a glowing eye with the number 100 on it. Licht wakes up next to Hina in a tent, upset that he's always too helpless to save anyone. He goes out and Hina follows him after waking up. Later, the two of them visit the town and Hina notices how gloomy Licht is. He cheers up when she notices and tries to change the subject when they get interrupted by Lin. She approaches Licht and thanks him for what happened in the town. Both Lin and Hina finally notice each other and question Licht for being with another woman. He gets nervous and runs away before getting caught by Nana. Nana proposes a match to decide who gets the man between the two girls. The girls enter a cooking competition where Nana makes a love-filled meal while Hina ruthlessly butchers a bear in front of the horrified spectators. Everyone learns that Hina learned how to hunt while living alone. She concocts a grisly stew which ends up tasting surprisingly good. Licht is torn between the two dishes when suddenly Jael appears. He chides Lin for wasting her time and notices the trapped Licht. The two get into a fight but are stopped by Nana, who scolds them for causing destruction. Later, Jael wakes up, remembering how Nana knocked him out with drinks, and leaves with Lin and Peel to follow her to Linden. Jael arrives at Linden, noticing the entire town in ruins with corpses scattered around. Where there was once a beautiful lake was now a dark portal to the abyss. The group meets a survivor who claims that a flying demon suddenly came out of the abyss and killed everyone. And Jael decides to head back and confront Licht about it. They head back to town with the survivor and get him some medical assistance. Afterward, to get him to answer questions, Jael gets Licht into a drinking competition. However, Ace is a tricky man and doesn't let Jael get any leads. Lin notices that Jael is lowering his defenses and drinking more and more, affected by the experience in Linda. Watching them, Lin tries to drink with Hina but spits out a strong drink. She gets worried about having Hina as a competition, noticing how cute and nice the girl is. Meanwhile, egged on by Nana, the two men end up knocking themselves out with no useful information. Suddenly, Peel comes running over, saying the demon has appeared again. Everyone walks over to another portal in the ground as Jael's orders soldiers to get into formation. Licht asks Jael to get everyone back, and Jael asks him what he knows about this thing. He gets emotional, saying that they should have already taken out all of the flying things in the war. Everyone stares at the portal horrified as a military helicopter comes out. Jael stares at the helicopter and watches as a gun barrel comes out of it. He reacts in time, creating a metal wall to block the incoming barrage of bullets. The helicopter then flies away and everyone remains in shock. Suddenly, it appears again and launches a missile at Jael. Licht takes control of the situation, telling everyone to take cover inside buildings and underground. He tells Jael to block the bullets whenever he can as Jael questions his authority. Licht reveals strips and 3 stars, an insignia of the colonel rank, and Jael is forced to obey. Licht jumps up to fight the helicopter, but as he is about to reach it, black hands from the abyss come out and knock him away. Lin is surprised that the black hands, called Althing, would interfere. Althing is the supreme authority in Alsha, deciding what happens and who gets sent to the abyss. Althing tries to attack the helicopter, but it flies to a higher altitude, avoiding them. Licht tries attacking Althing again but gets shocked again. Hina is worried about it and Jael notices the situation. She asks Jael to help Licht, but he reveals that no military member can attack Althing, the punishment for which is death. The members of the military stay silent, and Jael stays still. Hina begs him to help Licht in saving the town. Suddenly, Jael takes off his glasses. He claims that he cannot see anything and starts throwing iron beams at Althing. Suddenly, all the soldiers join in, making excuses for poor eyesight, and start trying to help Licht out, using Jael's steel beams. Licht jumps up to the helicopter. As he is about to break the windows, he gets shocked by something and jumps off as a barrage of bullets from above destroys the helicopter. Licht notices a woman with a gun, flying using a jetpack. Suddenly, she appears behind him, holding him at gunpoint. Licht mutters her name, Sanohara, as a gunshot is heard and Jael falls down, lifeless. An upset Lin asks Sanohara why she shot Jael, and she introduces herself as Mizuka Sanohara, the ace of pursuit. She asks the civilians to keep today's happenings a secret before suddenly opening fire on everyone, killing hundreds. Licht asks Sanohara to stop it, and she says that she'll always obey his commands, such as the one he gave her about killing everyone in the past. She tells Licht how she has changed and can now kill people as more and more people die. Licht tries to stop her but gets knocked down. Hina tries to run up to him but is captured by a man wearing a black uniform. Licht gets pinned down as well, saying he doesn't want to fight Sanohara, but one of her men brings a child in front of him. She mocks Licht, egging him on and asking if his murderous desires are surfacing. She orders her man to shoot the child as a gunshot is heard. However, somehow the child is safe and all the men around him are dead. One by one, all of Sanohara's men get killed by something. Licht walks around, telling Hina he will reveal his goal. Licht puts on a mask and reveals he is the plunderer whose goal is to steal everything away from Alsha. Licht goes up to Sanohara and challenges her to a star stake. The two begin their fight as aces. Lin and Hina watch on and Nana tells them that a fight between aces lasts to the death. Hyan feels worried about Licht's chances against the 32,000 count Sanohara, but Peel thinks that Licht has a chance, having fought evenly against Jael at a higher count. Licht gets up after getting knocked down and unleashes a powerful roar, releasing tremendous energy. Lin is shocked to see his count rapidly rise, but Nana says that this is possible for aces. Licht's count goes up to a massive 57,000 and Sanohara gets excited to fight. Unfortunately for her, Licht is too fast and knocks her around with flashing strikes, his trademark attack. Nana tells everyone to stay away from Licht, revealing by unleashing his power, he lets a bloodthirsty personality take over him. Licht easily defeats Sanohara and her count drops to 16,000, revealing that she was also under a different personality. Sanohara wakes up and is horrified by all the corpses around her. Nana tells everyone that the kind Sanohara would never kill people and was the last one of the aces to do it. She says that someone used drugs on her to force her power out and turn Licht into a killing machine. Licht approaches Sanohara and asks her why she is crying as she calls out his name, Rihito. Lin asks him to stop, but Licht says that his only job is to kill all enemies until nobody is left. Hina hugs him from behind to make him stop. Licht is about to attack her, but Sanohara draws his attention. She prepares to die, regretting that after finally meeting after 300 years, Licht is just going to kill her. As he swings his sword, Jail appears and protects Sanohara, covering up the wound in his chest. Sanohara tries to stop him, apologizing for shooting him. Jail tells her to get out of the way while cupping her chin and gets up to fight. He mocks Licht for killing meaninglessly, but Licht sheds a tear, saying he has to kill all enemies to protect his friends from becoming murderers. Jail gets serious and prepares to fight, revealing his real power at 45,000. An iron god is summoned and Jail fights Licht with it. Licht initially gets the upper hand but finally gets defeated by him, returning to normal. A blushing Sanohara thanks Jail for everything, but he collapses from his wounds. Somewhere else, a military general narrates a macabre story to some children. He is greeted by a familiar spy who tells him Major Sanohara has returned to her sanity. General Schmerman smiles confidently and prepares to make his move. In a wooden house, Licht recovers on a bed. He grins at all things being around from the unfinished duel, using it to harass all the girls. Hina asks Peel where Jail went, who reveals that he was summoned by the Supreme Commander to the capital New World. Jail reaches the capital and enters a palace, meeting the survivor from Linden. He gets thanked by the man and enters a quiet room. Jail greets Supreme Commander Alexandrov Grigorovich, who gets up menacingly. The man asks about him facing Licht before suddenly lunging to hug him. Jail, dodging and thanking his adoptive father for everything, reminds him that this is an official summons. He asks the commander about the men in black uniforms, and he reveals that they are directly under the royal family. He warns Jail that each of those men is a trained ballot holder and part of the Special Services unit. Jail then asks his father about Licht's count rising so quickly, to which he responds that aces were surgically altered to bring out their power. Apparently, this surgery stopped them from aging, letting them live even 300 years after the Waste Wars. Alexandrov then confronts Jail, calling him out for hiding Licht's location. He brings up news of the soldiers attacking Althing, reaching them through an SSU member. Back at the cabin, Jail returns with a gloomy aura. Licht figures out that he needs to be arrested and offers to turn himself in. Outside, the survivor from Linden is quietly observing, revealed to be a familiar spy. He thinks about how it is high time to return the plunderer to his original state to rob and plunder for their nation. Inside, Licht reveals that Jail was probably offered to save his men's lives in exchange for Licht's arrest. Sanohara and Lin try to stop Jail but get knocked away. Suddenly, Nana slaps Jail to his senses. She tells him to have some backbone and stick to his decision, knowing that he does not want Licht to be hurt either. She tells him to act like Licht and go against the army to save everyone dear to him, and a shocked Jail releases everyone. Nana sheds a tear, saying she's happy everyone believes in Licht so much. She is surrounded by a brilliant light. She reassures Jail that she'll protect his men and tells everyone to go back 300 years and see everything, asking them to change how it went. Jail notices a silver star on Nana's face before she warns them that they are not being sent to a dream and will lose their life if killed. Jail, Peel, Lin, and Hina wake near a modern school building. They watch as a young Sanohara and black-haired boy similar to Licht walk into the building. The group explores the school. They get fascinated by how modern the tech is despite it being 300 years in the past. The only thing they can do now is investigate for Nana. They enter a big hall where lots of students are gathered. They wonder if the boy called Rahito really is Licht when a tall boy bumps into Hina. She gets scared of him and Lin gets upset at him. The boy knocks her away and Jail gets ready to fight him but realizes he's missing his ballot. Suddenly, Sanohara calls out to the boy called Takatora to stop, and a boy with a wooden sword called Takakaze comes to stand up against him. Jail, Takakaze, and Takatora get heated up before Licht tells everyone to stop. Suddenly, a voice is heard on a mic and a captain welcomes all the students to Military Special School number 13. He tells everyone to be obedient soldiers before his junior, Lieutenant Friends gives them a brief. She tells them about how the entire world is in ruins after a recent war, and the captain tells the kids to become good soldiers and earn good money. He calls in the academy's headmaster and commander-in-chief, Major Schmerman, to give a speech. He begins reading a children's tale and some students start laughing at him. Sherman asks everyone to be silent, but a few students keep ridiculing him. Suddenly, the captain holds a gun to one of them and shoots her for disobeying orders before shooting the other two as well. Everyone starts panicking, running around as Hina, close by and overwhelmed, collapses. The captain warns everyone, saying that soldiers who panic or start crying get shot. He points his gun at Hina, who gets terrified, remembering Nana's warning. Suddenly, Takakaze knocks his gun out and Jail moves to fight him as well. At the stage, though, Licht's voice rings out, threatening the captain to kill Schmerman if he doesn't give up. He pulls out a stick, using a magic trick to grow flowers on it, but receives no laughter. Schmerman tells him that if he kills the commander, Licht will win. He holds Licht's hands and places them on his neck, telling him to twist and break it. Licht refuses, so Schmerman approaches him with horrifying killing intent, saying he'll kill him instead. The group is horrified, feeling choked by the intense aura when suddenly, Friends tells everyone to stop. Captain Allen shoots his Hun again, revealing he used paint bullets, and the dead students get up. He tells everyone to always listen to orders to protect their own lives. Later, the group has lunch and discusses how Allen is still acting, but Schmerman releases real killing intent. In his office, Sherman discusses with Captain Allen that Licht moved before everyone else and cornered the commander, saying he might be useful. Allen asks him if he wants Licht as a candidate, and Schmerman gives an ambiguous response. Later in a school hallway, Peel runs up to the group. He took them to a lab and discussed how he used a device called the computer to access information on Althing. Allen, listening to their conversation, reveals that Althing fell from a meteorite from somewhere and is an advanced technology. Its powers are used to force everyone to listen to a majority vote, and people were forced to call off nuclear wars. Hina thinks that peace must have returned, but Allen shakes his head. The group realizes that everything they knew about Alsha was false and that the secret to their world lies in the past. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content.